what's up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and today we are talking with the CattleWomen's Association. We're talking with Nicole Nicholson, and we got Pat Abel here. Thanks for coming on, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
it's great
for
to be here.
sure. Appreciate you coming on and bringing a new member, right?
Yes.
So this is always great because it's great to hear about what you guys got going on over there at the CattleWomen's Association. And, we got Ranching Month that we're wrapping up, right?
Well, actually, we're about to start it.
Okay.
But you know how it is. Every month is Ranching
Yeah.
Month with the CattleWomen. So,
Right.
But it will officially start next month.
So I'm gonna tap over here to Pat. So Pat, tell me a little bit about you and your history. You're born and raised here, goes back generations, and so tell me a little bit about that.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm actually a third generation CattleWomen. My grandmother started with San Luis Obispo and Santa Barbara CattleWomen, and then my mother was a member and actually became a CattleWomen of the Year and Cowbell Mom of the Year. And so kind of following in their footsteps. We've been in ranching for over 100 years in San Luis Obispo County, and it's a legacy. So we have a place there on the Cuesta Grade. My grandfather purchased it in the 1950s, that ranch, and so really I'm the third generation to operate cattle there.
Now, which ranch is that on the Cuesta Grade? The one on the left side?
It's on the San Luis side, there at Reservoir Canyon.
Okay.
And we've been doing it for quite a long time.
Wow.
My family actually migrated from Germany, came over as sheep herders, and then they transferred into the cattle business in the Napomo area. And then again, like I said, my grandfather purchased the ranch in the 50s. And so my mother operated that ranch, and now I'm operating the cow-calf operation.
That's interesting. So you see a lot, born and raised here as well, I see a lot of the cattle's ranches have turned to grapes, right? And so growing up in this era, in this area of the North County, South County cattle, kind of westernish, what was the biggest probably hurdle to keep cattle ranches going, for 200 years?
Well, our place, Cuesta Grade, is very steep, and so it really isn't ideally suited for tilling crops, strawberries, broccoli, lettuce. Those are big agricultural commodities in San Luis Obispo County, and you can't farm those hills. You talk about grapes, which is the #1 cash crop in San Luis Obispo County in 2023. You can't really grow grapes on those steep hills as well. And also, my degree's in geology, and those rocks that you see protruding out of the hills, that's the California State rock, that's serpentinite, and that serpentine, it's a low-grade metamorphic rock. It's really not ideally suited for crops. So the best thing to have to maximize the efficiency is really a cattle operation. And so when I see those cows out there, I think, well, they're all my employees and they're hard at work.
That's funny. So Nicole, tell me a little bit about, we have the CattleWomen Association, right? And so we had you on with Vicki last time. And so tell me what's been happening since the last time and what you guys are looking forward to next month.
Sure. So we've been continuing our activities that have been associated with our new beef promotion campaign, which has been giving back with beef. And recently we gathered toiletries and created care packages in conjunction with the Santa Rosa Catholic Church in Cambria, and got those care packages down to people in Los Angeles who unfortunately lost their homes in the fires. And the interesting thing about the care packages is that they contain those toiletries such as shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, and deodorant, which of course are the basics that we all need, but very few people realize that those are beef byproducts. Very few people realize that you actually can find products from cattle in a lot of the items that we use every day. So it was a perfect opportunity to give back to the community in a way that kind of showcases our product in a slightly different manner. Yeah.
And so you're getting ready for Ranching Month.
We are.
What
yes.
exactly does that mean?
So on February 4th, we will be going before the San Luis Obispo Board of Supervisors, and we will be accepting the San Luis Obispo County Ranching Month resolution in conjunction with National Meat Month. And essentially, we will receive this resolution. I'll be giving a very short little speech in front of the Board of Supervisors, talking a little bit about the industry itself here on the Central Coast, the wide open spaces projects that we recently completed. We'll talk a little bit too about the beef promotion campaign that I just shared with you. And then we will actually be hanging Vicki, who was here before, her photo in the supervisor's chambers with the previous recipients of the CattleWomen of the Year here in the county. So it's a pretty special morning and a pretty special day.
And Nicole, you hold the position of president.
Yes.
With the association. And then Pat, what about yourself? Are you on the board as well with them?
I am. I'm the scholarship co-chair with Pam McPherson, and it's a big part of what CattleWomen do. It's part of our mission to not only do beef education, but to promote agriculture. And we find that doing that through our scholarship program is a great way to give back to these kids that need that support when they go off to college.
And we're gonna touch on the scholarships towards the end of the show of how people can reach out and be a part of it and hopefully win a scholarship for their students and whatnot. But you talked about beef education. What do you mean by that?
Well, we go to the Ag Adventure, which allows fourth grade students all throughout the county to participate and to learn about dairy and beef. Learn about owl pellets, tractors, really immerse them in the agricultural surroundings that they see as they drive up and down the 101. Find out about where their eggs come from, different chickens and so forth. And that's one of the things that CattleWomen has participated in for quite some time, is having these ag programs for the younger set. We also go into high schools and we'll talk to them, and recently just was talking about agriculture with the Cal Poly Young Cattlemen's Organization. So we do that. We also provide reading material for our local schools. Ranch Raised Kids is a book that CattleWomen, the state CattleWomen, put together, and we distribute that not just in San Luis County, but throughout the state of California.
We actually do have an agri education committee as part of our organization, and Tracy Nicholson, my mom, is actually chair of that. And one of the things that she started when she stepped into that position initially was she takes guest speakers from around the county to different high schools and visits the ag classes and has them talk about different careers in agriculture that they may not be aware of. So a lot of times when we talk to kids, they often, of course, they know about ranchers, they know about veterinarians, some of like those more common, bigger careers, but some of the lesser known careers are such as those that, for example, a rural crime officer. So she will be taking Officer Brett Mobley to visit a couple of local classrooms in the next couple of weeks, and he'll be talking about how he supports ranchers and how he supports agriculture as a rural crime officer. We've also had people visit from, say, for example, Farm Credit and talk about their jobs in terms of helping farmers and ranchers secure financing for major projects. So that's been a very successful project, a very successful program, because a lot of kids realize, oh, good, I could come back home eventually, maybe after going off to school, if they do have to leave, and still have a career working in agriculture.
Because I feel like, the schooling and the education system is kind of pulling back on, some of the values and the history, of agriculture and the classes. And so it's almost like, whether it's be dollars is not there to have a teacher, have an instructor to learn about this. So some of these kids and these young families and these young generations has to fall back onto organizations like yourself, right? I mean, do you guys do outside of the schooling, like hold like meetings or educational seminars outside of like a school?
Not really necessarily outside of the school. However, we do have a young cattlewomen members. So we do have a special membership category for young cattlewomen to encourage them to get involved in some of our events. So you will frequently see young cattlewomen at a number of our events and helping to promote the project. As Pat shared at Ag Venture, you see a lot of kids actually who are in the ag sector. They are assisting and helping facilitate a lot of those presentations. So it's kind of neat because it's a peer-to-peer program at that point, where they're helping the facilitator, the presenter, teach other kids about what we do.
You know, and we're always available. If any organization wants to come in and talk, we're doing beef promotion every day. We might meet somebody in the grocery store in that meat aisle. We might, somebody on the street that wants to know what we're doing, or, tourists that come to our area. We're doing beef promotion really every day. We're sharing the message, the information about how rich our county is in the open space and agricultural living. And we'll be happy to come to any organization and talk about the extreme value to the county that the beef industry brings.
Pat, what kind of challenges do you think that we face in the ranching and the beef industry coming up?
Well, right now I'm going to say Mother Nature. She's our biggest challenge. Every day, I've got my finger crossed that we're going to have rain. And I know one person got 3/4 of an inch and we only got maybe 1/10. So that gray cloud, as much as you don't like a gray cloud hanging over you, I sure would have appreciated it this last weekend. So really the biggest challenge is you work to get your cattle inventory up and so forth, and then when you're faced with a drought, then you're having to decide, do you shoulder the cost of hay and feed and so forth. You've worked so hard to get to a certain level, and now because of the weather conditions, you're having to really turn on a dime, change the way you operate. You really, as a cattlewoman or a cattleman, have to be really flexible to the change, the ever change in the marketplace, in the weather conditions. It's a lot of work, and it is really a 7-day-a-week job. There's no going, on vacation or taking time off. There's always something to do. I just in December branded my calves. Well, now I don't get to just let down. Now it's time to build fence or feed the replacement heifers. August, September, October, bull buying season. There's always something to do in the cattle industry.
And Pat, when you look back to your childhood days, and you went off and geologist. You could have, left and never looked back. Do you think that was your paths? Would you change that? Well,
I will say this. It's what I was talking to the young cattlemen the other day. If you wanted to do something, go for those goals. So when I was a youngster, I had some cows and calves, and I wanted to be a veterinarian. But at the time, UC Davis wasn't admitting very many women into that school of veterinary medicine. And so because I liked the outdoors and I liked working with the land, I went into geology. The year that I graduated with my degree in geology, they actually admitted almost 50% women. So a lot had changed. So I say, if you have a dream, follow that dream, because things can change. And sometimes I look back and think, gosh, I would have liked to have been a veterinarian, but I wouldn't have changed anything. I really liked regulating oil and gas in our communities. We have the Arroyo Grande oil field in San Luis Obispo County, ensuring that injection was done safely. I was very proud of the role that I did for our county, working for the state of California. When I retired, my mom at age 89 said, I'd really like to retire. And even though she really isn't, she still gets out there and will load that hay and feed those heifers. But, I was happy to come back to the ranch, have a place there to be a woman-owned business and continue that legacy that my family coming to California started. I feel it's a big responsibility.
You say that ranch was started in the 1700s.
Well, my first relatives came to California in 1774, and then as those German ancestors came, they came as sheep herders, and then they transitioned to cattle in the Nipomo area. So they actually had part of the Nipomo land grant there in Nipomo, and then, as I said, my grandfather purchased through a court sale our San Luis Ranch. So,
wow, what a history! And Nicole, you guys have had your ranch there, what, seven generations?
It's six now. Six now. My great grandfather and his his brothers were partners on a number of ranches from San Simeon to Cayucas, where we were. And the ranch where my husband and I live, where we built our house, he purchased in 1929 when the stock market crashed. So we've had that ranch for quite some time. And then the Morro Bay Ranch, my grandparents, so his daughter and her husband, my grandfather, Bill Nicholson, they purchased the Morro Bay Ranch, which was an old dairy in 1956, I believe.
Is that the dairy that's on Highway 1?
No, it's off of Little Moore Creek Road, but I mean, there were so many of the ranches in that area, or ranches, they used to be dairies. And so when they purchased this, they converted it into a cattle commercial cow-calf operation.
How does this whole egg pandemic thing, does this affect the cattle industry much at all, or is it not a concern?
Well, the concern with the eggs with the bird flu is that it has been found in some dairies. Luckily, as far as the beef cattle operations specifically, we've been fine. Fingers crossed. so far so good. But since it has popped up in some dairies, the good news is, though, it looks like it is pretty confined, is pretty isolated, and more of those dairies that have been quarantined are being released. So,
because what was the one with the cows years ago?
Mad cow.
Mad cow disease, where they're like, they would just see, like seizures of some sort, right?
Yes. And that was just an unfortunate situation as a result of importing beef that were fed the wrong thing. And
because there's a lot of that.
So it definitely wasn't the fault of U.S. beef producers.
So, what they've done is we have these EID tags, and they're electronic, so they can want them, and from that they can tell where these cattle have come from, when they were born, and a lot of that is for biosecurity reasons. So, for instance, I do beef quality assurance certification, and in doing so, I took a class on biosecurity. So you're cognizant of people coming onto your property. A lot of times when a rancher says, hey, you're trespassing, could you please get off our place? A lot of that stems from biosecurity. We have no control where your boots have been. What you've got, noxious weed seeds on your pants, in your dog's hair, or something that could be transferred, the spores from the soil. So the EID allows the rancher to be able to track their animal, and the purchaser then can know where that animal comes from. And that's to guard against and to ensure the security of the product that goes to the marketplace. We're able to trace, we're able to know that if there is an outbreak of any sort of thing, that then they can isolate that cattle operation, because they'll know where those calves have come from, or where those cows have come from. So it's a really good program. They're taking it pretty much across the U.S. If you have an animal that's of a certain age and it crosses a state line, it is mandated to have these EID tags on them.
Really?
And the USDA supports that program, yeah.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense as far as the quality of, you know, the meats and the cows and what you're saying, because you can track that.
Exactly. We want to ensure that what the public is going to be purchasing at the grocery store, that they have that confidence that it's a good product. We know where it's come from. We do the best we can. As a cow-calf operation, I'm not butchering or slaughtering animals for the grocery stores. I provide a product that at 600 pounds, 700 pounds, then is purchased by someone else who will then feed it on grass or put it in a feedlot and feed it additional rations till it gets to about 1,300 pounds for them to then take it to the marketplace. So when they purchase those animals, for instance, this Friday I have an audit and I have a third-party auditor coming. They will go through all my records and my facilities, make sure that everything that I say that I'm providing with that product is true. I don't do any antibiotics. I don't do any steroid or hormone implants to those animals. So when that purchaser, such as Agra Beef or 44 Farms or Prime Pursuits, when they're purchasing that product, those calves, they'll know that what I say is true, that those are good quality animals to then feed out and then provide those New York steaks, those tri-tips that we all love around here, that those are safe products for the consumer.
I'm gonna tap on something else about the GPS that Cal Poly's doing. I don't know if you heard much about that, but then you mentioned tri-tips, and it's such a unique cut of meat that not a lot, like, I know places that's junk. That, you know, a tri-tip is junk to them, right? And
One man's junk is another man's treasure.
Yeah.
very true. Yeah, it's like, okay, send that this direction if you guys, you know, do throw that stuff away. But Pat, do you know much about the GPS trackers that the Cal Poly Ag Department is doing out in the fields?
Well, I don't know about Cal Poly, but you don't have to be a college student to have these GPS trackers. I have GPS trackers on my bulls. Those are really expensive employees, so to speak. You know, they're averaging over $10,000 for a bull, and so I have GPS trackers on them so that I can pull open my phone. You know, sometimes they think the cattlewomen or the cattlemen are old fuddy-duddies, you know, riding on the horse and so forth. But we really use technology quite widely in the industry. For instance, I can open up on my phone, I can tap into that and see where those bulls are. There are other tools that they have for geofencing so that they can, on a computer, draw a fence. The cattle will have a neck, sort of kind of like a necklace, that then as they approach that drawn fence on the computer screen will start beeping, and they will know then that when they reach a certain point, they'll get a little shock to say, no, don't go out there. They have it for
Really?
dogs, for
like
people's
shock
yards.
collars, yeah.
So we use the same thing. And we had our ranch burned down with the Las Politas fire. Well, the cost of putting new fences in is substantial. So being able to have a system like that really relieves that cost to the rancher, and also aids in furthering our sustainability actions. So by grazing parts of our property in smaller chunks and moving those cattle more frequently, we can get more grass and more protein for our cattle to consume by using the technology.
Without putting up fences.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And it's steep, so it's hard, and it's a safety issue for people putting those fences in. So being able to use technology, we have a lot of different ways that the cattle industry is using technology. We have a reduced inventory of cattle in the U.S., and yet you're seeing the pounds of meat that we're producing much higher than we did before because we're more efficient.
Right.
Nicole, how do you counter somebody's, the cost to eat, grass-fed beef is way more expensive than buying junk at the store? How do you counter that?
Well, the thing, Randy, is that I believe that, each consumer, I mean, they all have their preferences and their choice. In terms of, for example, our customers that buy grass-fed beef from us, and I have other friends too that buy from other individuals who have a grass-fed program, is that they like the fact that they know where that product came from, they know who helped raise it, they know that what it has consumed its entire life. That in and of itself justifies the extra cost for that particular product, and that's something that they're very happy with. There is definitely, I'm the first to say though, there is nothing wrong with cattle that are finished in a feedlot, grain-fed, nothing wrong with that. I don't want people to, think that one is superior to the other, but again, different people have different preferences. And that's something that, as far as what you're willing to pay, is often based on maybe personal research you've done, your relationship with the producer. So people have a variety of reasons, and I support that.
Well, and as people go into the meat counter, and I hear them say, "Oh gosh, the price has gone up," and I kind of giggle because I think people don't think anything of going into See's Candy,
Right.
and paying $36 a pound. And so
Jeez.
you're really getting that bang for the buck for the protein, the niacin, the vitamin B6, the vitamin B12. These are all really important amino acids that your body needs. And so I'd like to think that piece of meat is a little healthier than those See's Candy.
It's going to fill you up a lot faster.
Well, so obviously you guys have heard of like the carnivore diet, just meat, eat meat products or meat and animal products and stuff like that. Well, so last year, and I do that now as well, but it was like, the energy, people are saying, oh, there's going to, you're not having any carbohydrates. You're not going to have any energy. You're not, this and that. It was an amazing experience because the meat provided all the energy I need. I actually had more energy than I had in a long time. My mental clarity, just there was, and I was only eating the stuff that the rest of the industry tells you not to eat. Oh, don't eat red meat, don't eat fat, don't eat, this and that. All the stuff that they were saying that was going to kill me, made me feel like different, and then when I kind of stumbled back into my old ways with like your starches and your, carbohydrates and your sugars and stuff like that, you could totally tell a difference, and the meats, the fats, like you said, and, you have a good piece of meat, with the fats, there's nothing like it.
Well, the adage is beef, it's what's for dinner, and I say, but don't forget it's also good for breakfast and lunch too. There's nothing that beats a little piece of hamburger with an egg in the morning, or that roast beef sandwich, and I think it does level out your day, keeps that protein going, and your body, it's your fuel that you need.
And we're finally starting to see more empirical studies and research coming out supporting, the medical evidence showing how healthy beef can be, how beef can be incorporated into a healthy diet. I am a big follower too of the carnivore community, and it's overwhelming too to see the testimonials from people of, for example, a lot of people with certain autoimmune challenges, certain health issues that either improved dramatically as a result of consuming more protein, fewer carbohydrates. They either diminished or went away altogether. It's pretty remarkable to see hear about these different experiences.
And who doesn't want to eat meat and hamburgers and every single day? At every meal. Gosh, what is your favorite cut?
Oh, I'm a big fan. I love prime rib. That's my favorite. Yeah, but it's a tough choice.
What about you, Pat?
Well, I like a flank steak. Flank steak's really good. You marinate it in a little soy sauce and oil with some garlic cloves, and it's quick and it's easy. The other thing that I like to cook is a filet mignon. If you go to, I went and bought a filet at Costco, cut them into 1.5 to 2 inch pieces. You do it on your cast iron skillet for a few minutes, then put it in the oven for another 7 to 8 minutes. I worked out the per person cost was $11 per person. And I thought, you know, instead of people thinking that they should go out and have that filet mignon at the special restaurant or for those holiday events, I think everybody should have that on a Wednesday night when you need to get through the rest of the week. It's a quick and easy thing for the working parent to prepare, and it's going to give your family that protein. It's just a small, nice size piece that you should consume, and it's going to get you over that hump of the week. So
Pat, you seem like a medium rare kind of person.
I am a medium rare. That's correct.
I love medium rare. Sometimes, depending on if I've had a steak prior to when I'm ordering now, and I might even go rare because I think they tend to, even if you go rare, they're like, whoa, rare, you know, we could fall into some problems here. So you put down rare, it's like, really, I want it, your medium, my medium rare, but you're calling it rare.
Well, you know, so I have 2 kids, a son and a daughter, and so I did an unofficial survey on how kids and what they consume. And I found that my daughter really needed that meat. She had an iron deficiency, and I never said anything. She would say, when's the meat? No more chicken breast. She wanted that meat, and she meant beef. And we went to a really nice restaurant in Las Vegas, and I make my kids order themselves. I figure they got to start making decisions at a young age. And so she ordered a steak, and the guy asked how she would like it, and she says, I want it to bleed, because she didn't know to say medium rare. And the waiter looks at me, and I said, yeah, she wants it medium rare. And that's how she liked it as well. And I really felt like she gravitated to that because it was an iron deficiency. And they have literature that says it's really important for young babies and toddlers to have beef because it increases the blood flow to the brain. So it's really important at a young age to start eating beef.
Well, you know what's funny is we look back during the COVID era. We look back now during this whole egg thing, and you always fall back. Or I started thinking, going, you know, what are the people that this really isn't affected? You know, hasn't really affected. You know, it's the farmers that are growing and producing their own eggs, their own meats, their own food. You know, really don't get affected. You know, per se by these. Oh, the stores don't have eggs like where we're at right now. Or, you know, the stores have pulled all their meats because they found it's tainted from, you know, wherever. And so the farmers, you know, a lot of people don't understand that the farming industry, you know, really controls a lot of the world's economics and obviously the food supply. And, you know, I think the farmers really need to be given a lot more benefits, you know, to what they're doing and keeping America growing.
Well, in 2023, San Luis Obispo County had agriculture provide $1.1 billion of revenue into the state, into the San Luis Obispo County. Almost 60 billion, I think it is, for the 400 commodities that are for the state of California. So ag is a big part. We see San Francisco, we see LA. People think of California as all people, you know, just nothing but wall-to-wall people. But when you travel up the 101 or I-5 and you look at all that open space that we have the luxury of enjoying in California, and you see all those different crops. You'll see the orange trees, you'll see the almonds, or almonds, depending on how you want to say it. You know, you'll see the beef operations and sheep. We really do, you know, we do have a really rich agricultural and food base. And really, we supply a lot of food, not just in the United States, but for the beef industry, we export a lot of the product overseas. Really important in generating revenue.
Well, you made a comment as far as like, California, what people see on the outside. They see the buildings, they see the mass pollution, they see the massive amounts of people, but really what people don't see is the cows and the horses and the ranches and the barns. And, like I think I told Nicole this, when I go out of state, I have to, like, when people, oh, where are you from? I almost have to like give a little bit of a story beforehand, because when I say California, it's immediate. It's like, oh, really? It's like, no, it's like this area isn't like your normal California. But, being, I'm pretty much, I never leave this place really, which I love because I love the North County. But I went up to the up north to my nephew's graduation out of Sacramento, close to Sacramento. But I was thinking it was kind of more of a townie that I didn't really want to go to because I thought I wasn't going to fit in. But I fit in really well, and it was a lot of ranches. There was a lot of cattle, and it was just like my perception of going up there, because I'm thinking Sacramento, I'm thinking big city, I'm thinking, but it was completely opposite. So people looking into California don't know about like what's real California, what it's all about.
Right. Well, and a lot of people don't realize that California in and of itself actually ranks among developed nations in one of the top agricultural community or producing countries. I mean, it ranks up there with countries in terms of ag production. And I mean, I'm sure that many of us would agree that, a nation that can feed itself, that can raise its own food, can remain as independent as possible. It gets a little scary when we have to start relying on others for our food. So the more food that we can produce on our own, the more likely we are to remain independent and free.
Right, because I think one of the countries just banned engineered, beef. It's like, who wants
Italy.
wants to eat engineered beef? That's no, thank you.
Yeah, the lab grown, yeah.
Well, the plant-based, what do they say, 26 ingredients, whereas hamburger is just hamburger.
Yeah, just one.
Just one. So you know what you're getting when you purchase that. There's no preservatives. That's just what it is. And unlike some of those plant-based, not to say that there's anything wrong. If that's what you want to eat, you have a choice. And for a lot of us, beef is our choice. Number one.
What is some of the top, like the top 3 regions or states that are beef producers in the United States? Do you know that?
Off the top of my head.
Would California be in the top?
No,
Really?
We're not.
Surprisingly, we're not. You've got Texas, you've
Oklahoma.
got Kansas. You've got there are other states even towards the east that are
Nebraska.
really cattle operations. Surprisingly, California isn't. But
And Hawaii has one of the biggest cattle ranches in the world on the Big Island, I believe.
the Parker Ranch.
It's one of the biggest. I mean, they get snow there, during different parts of the year. But it's and it's one of the biggest cattle producers in the world, because it's thousands and thousands and thousands of acres, which I thought was really weird when I learned that too. I'm like, Hawaii has the biggest cattle ranch, one of the biggest cattle ranches in the world.
Well, and people are probably familiar with the King Ranch in Texas. Those are thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. So, and in fact, they were instrumental in breeding the Santa Gertrudis animal, which is an animal with a longer ear, which, people talk about climate change. So there are some animals that are more adept to the heat,
Right.
such as the Santa Gertrudis.
Is there a benefit or not to crossbreeding cattle into a different breed for one reason or another?
Well, actually, a crossbred is found to be a more I don't know what the word is. It's kind of like they say a mutt dog or something that's not registered will
Heinz
outlast.
57. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Outlast the top bred animal. So, for instance, breeding the Angus and the Hereford and having a black white-faced cow, is thought to be a more resilient animal to kind of endure the different conditions, kind of have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, in we call it heterosis or hybrid vigor. And what you do is you take the idea is to take ideal genetics from different breeds and then cross them. So really, it is something that, kind of similar to what Pat was saying. Oftentimes, when we can maximize those genetics from different breeds, then you end up with an animal that's a better quality, healthier, so on and so forth. So.
Nicole, what kind of breed? What do you guys have on the ranch?
We have Red Angus.
Okay.
We started with Hereford way back in the day, and then we slowly bred that out of our cattle, and now we have Red Angus. So, which are essentially identical genetically to Black Angus. It's really just different color hide.
And you guys raise them solely for food consumption.
Right. So they are. It's a commercial calf operation, but yes, that's what
Gotcha.
they are for.
And what about you, Pat?
I have Angus Hereford cross, and a few Hereford cows. Yes. And we talked about the technology. They do, I don't know if anybody has done 23andMe, but we essentially do that with our employees. Those bulls that I'm GPS tagging that are a little higher on their cost, the sire, we can actually know the genetics for marbling, their carcass weight, their ribeye size, if the females born from them will be good milkers. We can do all that DNA testing on these sires so that then we have a little more chance of having more prime and upper choice products for the marketplace. So we're making great strides in using the genetic testing. And you put that with the phenotype of the animal, so how it looks, the structure, and then we can get a more superior cow base for our breeding programs.
So is that when you go to the market, you see, standard prime, like these different cuts, and that's how they get that?
Well, it has to do with the percent of marbling in the meat, and so we want to make it genetically disposed to having more prime because the consumer likes that prime. It's a little more tender, those upper, than if you were to have a select piece of meat. So by having the upper choice, you're also getting more money at the marketplace. And when I say marketplace, I'm talking about that for the cow-calf producer. When we go sell on the video auction or at the sale barn, when you can have a higher percentage of prime and they know the genetics, for instance, I do a genetic merit score on the cattle that I'll be selling. So they know how they'll do in the feedlot, how they'll do for breeding purposes, how their marbling and ribeye should be by those numbers. And so obviously if I'm going to have more prime and upper choice animals, they're going to want to take that to the grocery store, so I would be able to secure a better price per pound than someone who maybe doesn't use those genetic technology to enhance their herd.
Does the administrations, does that have any effect on the cattle industry? So like we just turned over a new administration, running the United States. Does that change the cattle industry at all, or does the administration, presidency, none of that have any effect on the industry of the cattles?
There are definitely a lot has to do with federal legislation.
Okay.
So depending on the administration and different types of bills or laws that are proposed and passed, some are more favorable to ranchers and farmers than others. So I would say it depends on the administration. It depends on the regulations. And
a lot more, like you said, regulations kind of get imposed onto the ranchers and the beef industry, here, requirements versus like some of the other places, in other countries. So, which is another reason why sometimes that prime rib, costs you, $200 versus, $100. Is that right?
It can definitely have an impact. I mean, I would say, we know it's expensive to live here in general, so it's just a little bit more costly too to produce our product. I mean, we tend to pay more in taxes, and fuel is very expensive when you're transporting animals. So that all cuts into your profit margin at the end of the year.
Where's the least expensive place I can go buy a ribeye at?
Oh, that's a good question. What do you think, Pat?
I just walked to the freezer.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys are lucky.
I didn't want to say that.
Yeah, you guys are lucky.
Salt in an open wound.
We're really lucky to live in a country where we can walk into a grocery store and we can make those choices. And really, like I said before, the cost of beef is really inexpensive when you see what it can do for you. You were talking about your health benefits and how you could feel it. And so really, paying, you can choose hamburger, you can do it any way you want to. You can mix it in with spaghetti sauce, you can make Swedish meatballs, you can make a meatloaf. There are so many, you can do tacos, so many things that you can do with a pound of hamburger. You can, for the working parent, you can put some short ribs in a slow cooker and have dinner when you come home. You can put that tri-tip and put some green sauce over it and leave it for the day. Come home and you can use shredded beef and use tacos or carne asada or any of those things. There are so many ways to produce beef, and we're really lucky to live in a nation where we can walk into that grocery store. We've got that product there, and you can purchase it and have that for dinner.
Well, I don't know
breakfast or lunch.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know about you, Randy, but when you're eating more of the carnivore diet, you probably notice, because I eat that way too, and I'm not that hungry. I really only have to eat like twice a day,
Right.
and that's it. So even though the money that you do spend on the beef that you're buying, it lasts a long time because you're really not eating as much. You get full pretty quickly.
And it's interesting that you said that, because it's almost like we're built on eating, 3 times a day, maybe 4 times a day, right? And you almost feel like, wait a minute, I'm not hungry. I should eat more, and then you find yourself going, okay, I'm really not that hungry, but I feel like I need, like a need to eat.
Right.
Which
That's
is
we've
really,
been programmed.
Right.
To, all these years.
Yeah, and it's it's funny because by doing that, it's like now you get your ribeyes, you get your tri-tips, you get your prime rib. We were talking about money wise, a prime rib gives you 2 weeks of just eating, right? So $150, right? And how much would you spend going to the McDonald's and going to In-N-Out Burger and all that stuff, where this big slab of meat that you just cooked up however you want, is going to sustain you for a good portion of not only your meals, your family meals and stuff like that for 2 weeks, which I love.
Well, one beef animal can actually feed a family of 4 up to a year. It's enough meat for a year.
Right. So I was gonna get into that before we get into scholarships. I haven't forgotten, but I find the beef industry being so intriguing. I kind of not raised in the beef industry. My dad had cattle trucks. My grandfather ran the sales yard. So kind of in that era of time frame, but I never really, jumped in, the auctioneer, Jimmy Doty down there at the auctioneer, going to, having that experience on a Saturday morning, just being in that, it's just a wild experience. But when you buy a half a steer or a quarter or a full steer, the cost value of that, through these different cuts, we talk about filet mignon, ribeyes and tri-tips and, and whatnot, ribs, hamburger, it's such a cost. Have you broken that down, like what it costs per pound, or what you get for, like, say, a half a steer for a family?
I personally have not, because I feel bad, just because we have our own. But it definitely wouldn't be difficult to do.
Because you guys can sell. You guys sell the meat too, right? To the public, or only to somebody that's processed for that person?
To an individual. So we'll do sale to the individual buys the animal from us the same way that you would almost buy an animal at the fair.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's kind of the way that works. But then we also sell a certain amount of beef. John Spencer purchases some from us.
Oh.
And then we also have cattle that we consign typically to Turlock sales yard. So we have the kind of 3 different markets.
And how many cattle, like how many do you guys have on your ranch? Ranches, I should say.
Right now we have a little, we're right at 100 cows.
Okay.
And then 9 bulls.
And then Pat, what about you?
I have 225.
Wow. So you have a higher volume.
Yes, but I don't also raise them to the butcher level. I sell them at 500-600 pounds to someone else. Like I said, Prime
Just
Pursuits.
going to finish them up.
Yeah, Prime Pursuits purchased our calf crop 2 years ago. They supply to Walmart on the East Coast, and so they raise them from that 600 to 700 pounds up to like about 1,300 pounds. And then, so sometimes a person will put them on grass and then finish them off in the feedlot. Sometimes they'll keep them on grass. My cattle have gone to Idaho to Agri-Beef several years. They, like I said, went to Prime Pursuits. So they have different operations where feedlots and grazing opportunities to raise that animal to its full potential.
Wow. So Pat, tell me about the scholarships. So that's what we're here for. We're here to get some students and let them submit, right? So tell me about them.
Well, it's really exciting. CattleWomen in the last 25 years have given over $250,000 thanks to the generosity of the community supporting our roping events, polenta dinner, the fashion show. So one of the main missions of San Luis Obispo CattleWomen is to give back through our scholarship program, and so we raise and generate funds to do that. Now, the scholarship program is for graduating seniors from high schools in San Luis Obispo County. Also, if you're a Cuesta college student and you're going to be pursuing either going to Cal Poly or even Cuesta's expanding their ag program. If you're going to be attending in fall 2025, they're eligible. Those Cal Poly students that will be returning in the fall of 2025 pursuing a degree in agriculture are also qualify for the scholarship, and also a past recipient of the San Luis CattleWomen Scholarship who has gone, let's say, to Kansas State or to Oklahoma or Texas or Montana, some other university to pursue their education, their higher education in ag, they also qualify to apply for our scholarship. Scholarships can be anywhere from $500 to $5,000, really depending on the amount of funding that we have. We've had the generosity of Steve and Barbara Hurst to donate towards our scholarship program. We also have anonymous donors that contribute, as well as these fundraisers where we use the money. Now, our applicants, they need to not just be pursuing a degree in agriculture, but they need to share with us their leadership skills, their community involvement, their scholastic activities that they've had over the years. And they need to submit with their application their transcripts, as well as at least one letter of recommendation to show really the type of person they are. We're looking to reward and support those students going on that are going to be successful, that are really going to dig deep and do a good job to bring that agricultural information, expertise, and further our efficiency in the industry. I mean, we look to new vaccines, new feeding protocols, we're excited about what they can learn and contribute to the industry. And so when we find candidates that seem to meet all those criteria, then we're excited to be able to reward them a scholarship. And then we also have a dinner where we honor those recipients on May 1st. And so that's an exciting time to actually meet the candidate and their parents that have been very supportive in their pursuit of an agricultural career.
Do you ever have recipients come back to the Cattlewomen Association and be a part of it or contribute back in some way?
Yes, we actually have one recipient that I know of right off that is actually a cattlewoman and pursuing a degree at Cal Poly, leading the bull test program there, highly skilled, highly motivated, and contributes really to beef promotion. She co-chairs with Tracy on the beef promotion side of our Cattlewomen projects.
Yeah, she's our ag education chair, and she's done a great job. But we actually have had a number of them join, and they'll come to meetings, they'll come to the fashion show, or just pop in and say hi. But yeah, it's pretty great. It's pretty great to see them get involved too.
Nicole, when somebody asks you about the Cattlewomen Association, how do you explain it? Like somebody that doesn't know anything about what you do, how do you explain that?
Well, the first thing that people often will say, they will maybe come to one of our events, or they'll see us out and about, and they'll say, you seem like such a great group. I would love to get involved, but I don't have any cattle, or we're not in ranching. We said, that's okay. Really, we want you, if you are interested in what we do, you're supportive of what we do, you want to help support and further the goals that we have as cattlewomen and ranchers in the industry. So if you are someone who is passionate about the industry and you want to help move that needle forward, we say, please come join us. It's all about ensuring that we also continue on this way of life. It's really a legacy, as Pat was talking about earlier. So if you're supportive and you like what we do, please join us, visit our website. So if you're interested in applying for the scholarships, you can visit our website, cattlewomanslo.org, click on the scholarships tab. Right next to it is the membership tab. So you can fill out a membership form too, and join us if you can.
But you don't have to be a member to apply for the scholarship.
No, you
just
do not.
To be clear on that.
Those are separate.
And we have multiple ways for applicants to apply. So there is a Google Doc form on our website, so they can download that and fill that form out, and they can either email it or send it U.S. mail. Or we also have a Google form, and so at the very end of them completing that form, it just hits submit and it electronically gets to us. And our deadline is April 1st. No fooling around with that deadline. And we look forward to seeing all these great applicants, these students that some are 4-H members, some are FFA, some are in college, some high school. It's really exciting. Those young individuals really get us motivated and excited to continue the scholarship program. They have a lot to offer, and we're excited to be able to help in that journey.
And Pat, what does the Cattlewomen Association mean to you?
Well, it's recognizing that we want to support the beef industry, that we want to provide accurate and informative information to the public, that we want to be able to share what we do Monday through Sunday with our community, that they know that we want to be a partner with them, that we want to help the community. And this being a part of the Cattlewomen, these women get together, we see what needs to be done, and we're proactive and get the job done.
Very awesome. Well, ladies, I appreciate you guys coming on. That was a plethora of information, which I love, and I think it really builds a lot of value, in, the industry and the, kind of a outside looking in of how it operates. Cause I didn't know about those tags. That's awesome. Geofencing, who would have thought, makes sense now after you said it, but I would have never guessed that was, technology used in, the beef industry and the cattle industry, but it makes sense. So
Thank you for having us.
yeah, for sure. I look forward to all your guests because, like I said, you guys have some interesting people involved with the Cattlewomen Association.
We do. We're very blessed.
And you guys are still, people can show up, be a part of it, join, and how do they find you?
So yeah, visit our website, CattleWomen SLO. We are also on Facebook. We are on Instagram. Check out our events. But yes, if you're supportive and interested, fill out a membership form and we'll give you a call and chat with you and let you know what's coming up.
Have you ever denied anybody?
No, I did not since I've been. I mean, I'm sure maybe it's happened. You never know.
Just
but
curious. It's like,
not
it's
during
not a
my
good
tenure,
fit.
Not during my tenure.
I don't think so, because we have the largest unit in the state of California
know.
and potentially in the U.S.
Right?
So.
Yeah, it is.
That's such an awesome thing. So you guys are doing great stuff around here and for the industry itself, and you have a lot of great members. So appreciate you guys coming on and giving us that information and the inside looking in look for you. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, guys. Hey, make sure if you guys have a student that is interested in a scholarship, you reach out, go to their website, cattlewomenslo.org, fill out the app, and hopefully you will be a recipient. So as always, guys, we can't do this without you and our sponsors. We'd like to thank Esquire Wine Travelers Hideaway, Visit Atascadero, 805 Customs, MGP Coatings, North County Junk Removal, The Trailer Barn, Story Termite Pest Control, Borjo Auto Center, Kennedy Club Fitness, Airflow Filter Services, and Suprema Meat Markets. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today. We can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.
Hi, it's Alex with Suprema Meat Market. We are a Mexican meat market with a taqueria. Come enjoy our high-quality cuts and meats. We offer choice and prime Harris Ranch beef, as well as chicken, seafood, and pork items. In the taqueria, all of our tacos come with handmade tortillas. We also offer specialty items like chilaquiles and chile rellenos. Come enjoy Taco Tuesday with Suprema. We offer our tacos at $1.99 each. Suprema Meat Market is located at 8950 Montecito Avenue in Atascadero.
Are you tired of looking at that worn-out concrete garage floor, patio, or porch? Look no further than MGP Coatings, where customer service reigns supreme. Our team goes above and beyond to ensure your satisfaction every step of the way. Before we even start coating, we meticulously repair your concrete, ensuring a flawless finish that lasts. And here's the best part. Our Pentec coatings are 4 times stronger than epoxy, so they won't chip or peel, making maintenance a breeze. Plus, they come with a limited lifetime warranty. Call us today at 805-952-5301 or check out our Facebook and Instagram and experience the MGP coating difference. Don't wait. Transform your garage, patio, porch, or driveway and become a part of the MGP coating family.
What's up, North County? This is Teresa Branch with Airflow Filter Service. We are a family-owned business right here in the North County. We have air filters, oils and lubricants, and hydraulic hoses. We provide services that include air filter cleaning, DPF cleaning, and waste oil collection. Come check us out at 1140 Ramada Drive, and we can help you with all your automotive and industrial vehicle needs.
Hi, this is Omid
and Deanna
at North County Junk Removal. We are a business known for helping our neighbors and our community.
Let us help you save money and get rid of any unwanted items.
And rest assured that our professional team adheres to global standards of safety and recycling. We are fully licensed and insured for your peace of mind.
We are locally owned and operated, and we look forward to helping you with all your junk removal needs.
Please call us at 805-769-6966.
Atascadero isn't your standard getaway. We're unique, just like you. We're growing, transforming, and figuring it out as we go. We're a town filled with innovators, artists, makers, and game changers. We're a little bit country, a little bit funky, and always authentic. We're here for your good times, your slow times, and your changing times. We're all in Atascadero. Come see for yourself. Learn more at visitatascadero.com.
Hi, welcome to Kennedy Club Fitness, where we have something for everyone. We have weights, cardio, group exercise classes, racquetball, basketball, swimming, and pickleball coming soon. Here at Kennedy, we're committed to health, wellness, and community. Stop by any of our 4 locations, Paso Robles, Atascadero, San Luis Obispo, and Arroyo Grande, or check out our website at kennedyclubs.com.